the day wrestling stood still. The news didn't just break headlines, it broke hearts. On July 24th, Hulk Hogan, the man who made millions believe in the power of the 24-inch pythons, died from cardiac arrest at 71. For fans, it felt unreal. The immortal one, bigger than life, too tough and proud to ever slow down, was gone. Tributes poured in quickly. Legends who fought alongside him were stunned. Ric Flair called it the end of an era. CM Punk posted one word: brother. That said it all. It wasn't just wrestling that lost a giant. For millions, Hogan was childhood memories, Saturday mornings, action figures, theme songs, and catchphrases. His death marked the passing of a cultural icon. Behind the tragedy lies a story of how one man turned a small, regional sideshow into a global phenomenon. But how did Hulk Hogan become that big? How did a bleach-blonde, mustached muscle man turn pro wrestling into mainstream entertainment? Let's go back to where it all began. The man who made wrestling cool. Before Hulkamania, wrestling was a niche world. Local territories, smoky arenas, and late-night shows. Enter Vince McMahon, a young promoter with a bold plan, and Hulk Hogan, the man who could make it happen. In the early 1980s, McMahon bought WWE, then WWF, and aimed to go national. He wanted superstars, not just wrestlers. Hogan's massive frame, golden hair, and charisma made him more than a wrestler. He was a living comic book hero. McMahon saw it instantly. Hogan was the brand. Wrestling stopped being just a sport. It became entertainment. Hogan sold out Madison Square Garden and became the face of WrestleMania, wrestling's Super Bowl. For the first time, everyone knew Hulk Hogan. Kids wore his shirts, parents recognized his name, and Hollywood took notice. Wrestling wasn't wrestling anymore. It was pop culture. And Hogan's rise to true superstardom was just getting started. A pop culture phenomenon. Whatcha gonna do when Hulkamania runs wild on you? That catchphrase wasn't just words, it shook culture. Hogan wasn't just a wrestler in the ring, he was everywhere. His voice, bandana, and red and yellow gear became a brand. Kids shouted his lines, adults saw him on covers, and he was on lunchboxes, action figures, and cartoons. Hulk Hogan was a household name. His entrance music, Real American, blasted through arenas like a battle cry, symbolizing good versus evil and strength versus justice. In the 80s, America loved it. Hollywood soon called. In 1982, Hogan appeared as Thunderlips in Rocky III with Sylvester Stallone, a small role that gave him mainstream legitimacy. He wasn't just acting, he was the part. From then on, Hogan was everywhere. TV shows, endorsements, interviews. For a time, he was pro wrestling, carrying the industry on his shoulders. But what happens when the biggest star decides to change the game? The next chapter wasn't about being a hero. It was about becoming the villain and changing wrestling forever. The Golden Age and WCW Takeover. By the mid-1990s, the red and yellow hero was fading. Fans wanted chaos, not heroes. Then, in 1996 at WCW's Bash at the Beach, Hogan shocked everyone by turning heel. Teaming with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, he formed the rebellious New World Order, the NWO. Hogan, once preaching vitamins and prayers, now wore black, spat on fans, and tore down his own legacy. It worked. WCW's popularity exploded. Ratings soared, merchandise flew off shelves, and for the first time, WWE was losing. This sparked the legendary Monday Night Wars, WCW's Nitro versus WWE's Raw. Fans picked sides, and Hogan's NWO dominated for a while. He didn't just adapt, he defined a new era. The man who built WWE was now fueling its fiercest rival. Hogan reinvented himself and helped create what many call wrestling's golden era. But no matter the changes, one thing remained: his power to create unforgettable moments. Some of the best came from his legendary battles. Iconic feuds and unforgettable moments. You can't talk about Hulk Hogan without his legendary battles. At WrestleMania 3, Hogan slammed the 520-pound Andre the Giant before 93,000 fans, a moment that made him larger than life. He feuded with Randy Savage in explosive, unforgettable clashes. Then the Ultimate Warrior shocked the world by beating Hogan at WrestleMania 6. Hogan didn't fade, he evolved. He faced The Undertaker, Ric Flair, and Goldberg during WCW's hot streak, with each match adding to his legacy. Then came WrestleMania X8, Hogan vs. The Rock. 2 generations. The crowd's energy flipped mid-match, cheering Hogan like old times. Even losses, like his 2002 defeat to Brock Lesnar, became part of his story. Giants fall, but they fight hard. These weren't just matches. They were moments when wrestling felt real and electric. Eventually, Hogan's time in the ring slowed, and the roaring crowds faded as the legend stepped back from the spotlight. The final bell. Every legend has a last act. For Hulk Hogan, it came in 2006 at SummerSlam. He faced Randy Orton one last time and delivered a win in his final televised WWE match, with the crowd firmly behind him. After that, the spotlight faded. Hogan made occasional appearances, Hall of Fame ceremonies, reality shows, but the red and yellow gear was put away. Age, injuries, and controversy slowed him down. Still, his shadow over wrestling remained. His name drew crowds, sparked debates, and his story wasn't over. Loved or criticized, no one could deny his impact. Then, on July 24th, Hogan passed away, marking the end of an era of showmanship and larger-than-life heroes. But his story doesn't end here. What he left behind continues to shake the industry. The legacy he left behind. When Vince Russo spoke about Hogan's death, he didn't just mourn the man, he honored the impact. He brought wrestling into the mainstream, Russo said. He literally put wrestling on the map. Before Hogan, wrestling was small time. After him, it was everywhere, on cereal boxes, movie screens, and living rooms worldwide. He turned a niche sport into a billion-dollar empire. Hogan wasn't just a star, he was the blueprint. He showed that wrestlers could be entertainers, with stories as gripping as any Hollywood script. Charisma mattered as much as strength. He inspired generations, from John Cena to The Rock, athletes who grew up dreaming of his spotlight. Without Hogan, many legends might not exist. Even now, his presence lingers, in every chant, every ripped shirt, every entrance theme. He may have left the ring, but Hogan never truly left. Legends like him don't fade. They echo. The end of an era, but never the legend. For decades, Hulk Hogan was the heartbeat of wrestling. The hero in red and yellow who told kids to say their prayers, take their vitamins, and believe in themselves. He wasn't just a character. He was a feeling, a wave of energy the moment his music played. His death marked the end of an era, when heroes stood tall, villains got their comeuppance, and millions believed anything was possible because Hogan said so. Now, that voice is silent. But legends like Hogan don't truly die. They live in chants, memories, and moments when the crowd roared and the lights shined bright. He didn't just change wrestling. He was wrestling. Rest in power, Hulkster. And to the fans, one last question. Whatcha gonna do, now that Hulkamania has taken its final